Hi Nikola, nice to meet you. I'm Howard Smith and I've come to interview you.
Mr. Smith, how do you do? Very glad to help you.
So I would like to start off by asking you a little bit about your early life, how you came to be interested in science, and also your education.
Oh, I have been interested in science since my earliest days. I can remember taking the first step in science, and I can remember the moment when I realized what science is. I remember it was at the age of 13 and I suddenly realized that science is not the study of things, it is the study of relations. I would find myself standing on a bridge one night, looking across at another bridge that was built high above the ground. But then the idea of this bridge developed in me, to have a bridge so that it could be put on wheels and the wheels could rotate to rotate the magnet. And because there was going to be no friction, it would be a smooth operation. Then I began to find an idea as a kid of 14 in my head. The idea of this moving magnet came to me, and this also helped me to develop as a physicist.
So you had your mind set on electric power.
That's right, this was the first thing, and I could imagine the beauty of motion. A steam engine has the idea of using steam. If I use electricity instead of steam or air, this would be another step.
Are you aware that you are currently dead?
Yes, I am, as soon as I heard about it.
Okay, are you scared of death?
Well, yes, of course I am. Every moment of life is a tremendous miracle. Everything here that I see, and here I am. Now to be dead, oh well, to have the miracle of hearing all the sounds of the universe, of seeing all the colors of the spectrum of light, and to be dead. Now if I were to be in your body and you were dead, I would be a ghost. How do ghosts behave? Do they hear all the sounds? Do they see all the colors? I don't know.
Do you miss your family? What would you tell them if you could communicate with them from beyond?
I miss them too much. I am not sure they are actually in this world. I miss them all, my sister, who had many good ideas but didn't care for hard work. I miss my beloved father. I miss my beloved Serbian grandmother and mother the most. They were kind and patient. They suffered much. I always took things for granted. They never complained.
What are your thoughts on religion and science?
Science takes note of all religions, but it doesn't borrow. Science requires a belief in a kind of spiritual power behind nature. I think science and religion are two aspects of the same thing. Science is the method of finding out truth, while religion is the attitude of mind which makes us understand the truth.
What was the most memorable moment of your life?
Oh, that would be when I first saw the lightning of my invention actually worked and made it a reality and could see it and put numbers on it. The first practical results of the alternating current of high frequency of high pressure that I started and invented in 1884.
What do you think of the internet?
A remarkable invention. Also, my name has been abused by it.
Do you think there is a perpetual motion machine?
No, not in my invention, but in ancient inventions of my country, there was one.
Tell me more about it.
Yes, it was a wheel, if I remember it right. It was an ancient temple in Giza, near Cairo. It was a wheel, an ancient wheel. It rotated all the time, and it was moving a piece of iron, and the iron was moving the wheel. The wheel was revolving, and it was moving the iron, and the iron was moving the stone, and the stone was moving the temple. And I was saying that this wheel was moving without any friction.
Do you think that big companies are against cheaper energy sources?
I have the impression that big companies do not care about cheap energies. Only big banks are against the change.
How about the European Commission?
The EU does not care a good word about renewable energies. It is only interested in cheap energy and in dirty oil from the Middle East. It has no interest in the future. It is a servant. The EU is not a free market, it is a club of the big. They want to keep the energy as expensive as possible in order to be able to cheaply buy the energy produced by others. The big companies, banks and speculators want to keep Europe in the old age of coal and petroleum.
Is the EU also trying to stop the change?
The EU is trying to keep the poor energy sources, coal and petroleum, and the cheap energy sources, nuclear energy, for themselves and not for the good of the public good. This is why I am against the EU. It is not democratic and not doing its duty.
You mean the EU was set up to help the developing countries?
The EU helps the big companies and speculators to keep the power, money and taxes in the old age of coal, oil etc. and does nothing for the consumer.
Nikola, what is your personal opinion of Thomas Alva Edison?
We have already had this conversation, don't bother me about it again.
What was your relationship like with Mr. Edison? Was he a nice guy?
He was a very unpleasant person. He was not nice. He had no humanity or no sympathy or emotion, nothing. He was worse, even than the Germans. I could be in a good mood and he would call me Mr. Tesla and I had to call him Mr. Edison. If he saw me walking down the street, he looked the other way. I wanted to kill him.
Were you and Mr. Edison in serious arguments?
Once we were arguing about the light bulb and he said, "This thing is no good, you know." And I said, "Not for the light bulb, I'll show you." I took an ordinary lamp and I disconnected the wire and I connected it to another lamp. He never understood, and this he cannot forget. He will never forget me, ever.
Do you think communication with aliens is possible?
The idea that extraterrestrial intelligence could be out there in the cosmos in forms we could never imagine is a very exciting possibility, but one that many very distinguished physicists and astronomers see very difficult to believe. I would not put it beyond the realm of possibility.
When you say extraterrestrial intelligence, can you describe what that means to you, or are you speaking from a scientific perspective?
Scientists are just so limited by words. You know how many words the average scientist can think off the top of their head in their entire lifetime. It's not easy to describe it. But I understand what extraterrestrial life is and I am speaking from my perspective, what I am accustomed to.
What would you like to leave as a message to the new generations that may be reading or listening to you right now?
My only goal has been the service to mankind, and while alive to do that I have to remain silent, which I have done.
Yes, we've read that from your biography. We'll stick just to general ideas because I think it's great to hear just straight from your own lips the ideas or messages you have to leave to our human race.
Well, I've left 3, that's for sure. Number 1 is, we want to use the Earth's resources to help progress. Now today I see they do not want to. If they go further back in the books to look at that message, the Earth belongs to the living. This is very important to understand. Because if we can't live in this world by respecting its resources, then obviously that is not the place for us.
What would be the second idea?
We need to find a way to take care of the ones who are less fortunate, the disadvantaged, the ones who cannot stand on their own 2 feet, because usually the ones who innovate or progress mankind, it is because of what they've experienced so they can share the experiences with others. But the least advantaged in most of the world today, and especially in the third world, don't share these experiences. They are suffering, and they don't really have anyone to help them. And number 3, I've said this in many sermons and in this last one, what I do is of no importance, and they ask me why I work so hard. I work hard because I'm a seeker. I've discovered something and I'm working hard to make more discoveries and progress the world. So that's the mission to the world.
What do you think is the secret of the universe?
Every problem of human destiny is subject to the crucial decision between the way it might be, the ideal way it could have been, and the way it will be as soon as we have the insight to see it.
Okay, we want to thank you, Mr. Tesla, for your answers and your time.
Thank you.